Right, so going into my final tip, which some of you already know is my favourite, and that's got to be So we're here with episode 4 of the prep series. Last week I spoke heavily about my meals and showed you exactly what I was eating. If you haven't seen that video, you can watch that here. This week I'm going to be going through my check-ins and then jumping straight into what you can do to help you stay on your diet and not deviate off the track. The tricks that I'm currently doing and the things that I wish I knew earlier. So without any further ado, I'm going to go straight into the check-ins. Yeah, so if you've been following, you'll know it is the lights that I've came in this whole prep, and I've obviously dropped my calories and upped my cardio slightly, and the NEAT's been the same.
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
My front double bicep. In all of these shots, I feel like I'm definitely looking a lot leaner. I'm coming in a little bit drier. You can see my quad striations are coming through now. My vascularity in my quads and some cross striations starting to come through in the quads, which I mentioned that I wanted to come through, which basically just proves that I'm getting a lot leaner. Cross striations are like really difficult to come by, basically. To gain. The obliques are showing out on the side shot, definitely a lot vascular, and the Christmas tree is starting to show a lot deeper in the back, and the vacuum's coming along fairly nicely. So yeah, I'm on just under 3,000 calories. Again, if you haven't seen that, then just watch this, because then that'll show you exactly how I've managed to get this lean in this week's check-ins. So yeah, my weight is now 85.3, and I think last week it was 86.7. So I've dropped around 1.4 kilos, which is a fairly big drop. I've definitely got a lot more vascular, which is a good indicator that my BFP's starting to come down. For the eagle-eyed viewers out there, you will notice that I have changed the scenery of my check-in photos. So this week I've had to check in at work, and I'm probably going to have to check in at work next weekend as well, purely down to the fact of the cost of fuel for me to get home and back to base. It's just not feasible, basically. Sad times. But anyway, now that the grind's over, let's get into some of these tips and tricks that I've learned and I'm doing to help me stay on track and keep my gremlin hormone at bay. If you're sitting at home and you're thinking, what the hell is a gremlin hormone? It's not gremlin, it's ghrelin. It's the hormone that's in charge of telling you when you're hungry. Everyone's definitely felt the effects of the ghrelin hormone, especially, let's just say for example, you're at work and you normally eat at exactly 12 o'clock for your lunch break, and on a particular day you start working through that without realising the time, and then you start to feel the hunger coming on. That's your body, because it's used to be getting that fuel at that time. That's the ghrelin hormone spiking, telling you that you need to eat, basically. So obviously you need this hormone, especially back in like the prehistoric ages, where it would basically stop us, prevent us from starving to death. But in this day and age, when there's fast and readily available food at every corner, it's easy to overeat, because your body is then used to these high calorie intakes with these calorie dense foods. It then, as soon as you start to draw back on these foods and drop the calories, even though you don't actually need them calories, you're still in a surplus. Your ghrelin hormone's then going to spike up, because it's going to let you know that you're hungry again, and it makes it harder to then put the fork down, as Coach Greg would say.
Put the freaking fork down!
Alright, so I'm going to jump straight into number 1, which I've already been over a little bit and shown you the intake that I'm having, but it's going to be water. Mega simple. So there's been countless times where I've felt a little bit hungry because my ghrelin hormone's been spiked, and I've drank a load of water, and it's basically kept it at bay slightly. I mean, it's not going to get rid of it completely, but it definitely helps. If you filled your stomach up with water, it's definitely going to help give you that satiating feeling. Number 2, now this is another simple one again, it's slowing down your actual eating. So now that I'm on these restricted calories, I'm making a conscious effort not to just smash the food in as fast as possible. What I'm doing is slowing down how fast I'm eating the food and giving my body a chance to realise that it's actually being fed. Again, even with small meals like breakfast, for example, I'll try and break it into two. So I'll have my bagel side of it first, and then I'll give it like a little half an hour break or even an hour sometimes, and then I'll have my salmon and stuff, so then I'm not just smashing them calories like fast and then going for a longer period, if you know what I mean. That's just something that I do personally. And also when I'm having these little breaks and slowing down how I'm eating, especially with the bread stuff and the bagels and stuff like that and the wraps, I'll smash my water again, so then as I'm drinking it, it's absorbing, the food in my stomach is absorbing the water and giving the illusion that I'm more full. So number 3, adding low calorie dense foods. This is paramount, it's key for smashing your diet and trying to stay feeling satiated basically. You would have seen the stuff that I've been added in, so the leafy greens for example and the jalapenos. So the leafy greens are just going to bulk it out more for the most minimal amount of calories. It's going to give you that fibre and you're going to feel like you've eaten a lot more calories than you actually have, because you will actually be more full from the size and the density of the food, but it's going to have barely any calories in it. And also the jalapenos, not only are they going to bulk out your meals and add the flavour to it, which is good anyway, it also has another benefit. So what it does is, because it's spicy, it creates your body to be under a bit of stress. So because your body's dealing with the spice and the heat from the jalapenos, it's creating your body to be under a small amount of stress. If you think about it this way, for example, if you were a bit peckish and I suddenly told you some bad news, your body would go into like a mode of being stressed and you suddenly wouldn't have an appetite and you wouldn't be thinking about food anymore. Well, that's like the same sort of thing, but on a smaller level. So number 4, fizzy drinks. That's something I've recently chucked in, is the 0 calorie fizzy drinks. That what I'm talking about is things like these, or the Diet Coke, which has 0 calories. I'm doing quotation marks because of course it's not actually 0 calories. I think the rule in the UK is for a product to be able to name it it's 0 calories, it has to be under like 2 calories per serving, and they can get away with saying completely 0 even though it's not actually completely 0. So this will be like 1 calorie maybe, or like 1 or 2 calories depending on which one you choose. But they are really good because not only does the fizzy drink give you your kick of like a sugary flavouring that you're probably craving because of these dry, low calorie meals that you've been having, it also, the carbonated water or the fizziness of the drink, if you like, gives you a feeling of being full, probably because the gassiness and stuff in there, but it just helps to, again, satiate you. And that's all the little tricks. You just want to try and do all these little things without having the extra calories to try and keep your body feeling satiated. Yes, there is going to be some of you out there that are going to be completely against the Diet Fizzy because of the death by aspartame.
And the artificial sweetener is going to ruin your gut microbiome, give you cancer.
There's been no actual studies showing that aspartame leads to any health problems whatsoever, so honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. Number 5, so fasting for breakfast. Now, usually in the real world, I'm not in fasting's corner at all. However, by fasting for breakfast, I mean pushing it right by like an hour or 2 maybe, maximum. So when I wake up in the mornings, I'm not always that hungry straight away, which isn't that bad because then I can leave my breakfast for an hour, even if it's only for an hour. Then when I'm got that hunger and then I've eaten my breakfast, then I've got a short amount of time to have the same amount of calories in. By the end of the day, I'm still going to be eating the same amount of calories. Some people are going to say, yeah, but if you leave your body for a longer period of time without eating, then you're going to have a higher ghrelin hormone. But like I just said, in the mornings, as soon as I wake up, I don't feel hungry the moment that I wake up. It's like an hour or so and then I'm feeling pretty hungry. Whereas late at night, that's when most people are hungry, when they're not activating their mind and they're just chilling out. Alright, so going into my final tip, which some of you already know is my favourite, and that's got to be toasting the wrap. So most of you, if you've seen my last video, you know I've only got one wrap meal in the day now, but when I toast the wrap, it makes me feel like I'm having a treat, because if you get it right, you do a couple of sprays of the 1 calorie oil, and I like to use a flavoured one, so either the garlic one or the chili one, for example. Do a couple of sprays on there on the George Foreman, put the wrap in there, press it down, a couple of minutes, and then you've got the little bit of flavour from that, you've got the crunch on the outside and it's all doughy in the middle, and yeah, it just feels like I'm enjoying the meal a lot more, because I feel like I'm having the meal more of a treat. So it's such a little trick, but it's a complete game changer for me. So if you aren't toasting the wraps, then toast the wraps. Hopefully you've learned something new and helpful, and if you have and you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, comment, and if you want to continue to follow me on my journey and learn some more, then hit the subscribe button. Next week's video I'll be going into a bit of my posing and showing you how that's coming along now that I'm a lot leaner, and you'll be able to see it a lot better. And also I'll be going into what I done and what my routine is for my calves and how I've grown them by literally like a third. So if you want big ass calves, then come and watch the next video and I'll show you the ways. If you haven't seen week 10 yet, that'll be over there. And if you haven't seen or you've missed out on some of the episodes, I'll put up the full prep series just here. Give that a click. And until next time, let's make some gains. Boom.